Susan Gilroy, Commonwealth Games gold medalist, champion of Europe, British title holder, and a Year 3 teacher in Barnsley. Amongst all the medals and honours she's won, perhaps her greatest triumph is the impact she's made and the way she's perceived in the classroom at Shawlands Primary School.
I think she's special because she's good at table tennis and she's won a second gold medal. She's really good. She's really good. She helps us when we're stuck. Yeah, she's a good friend, actually.
All the children know there's something special about Mrs. Gilroy. But is there anything else that's different about her? Is there any other reason why she's special?
No.
Is she different to any other sort of teacher that you've got in the school? No. Is she different to any of the other teachers in the school?
Yeah, I think she's better.
Sue Gilroy has undoubtedly achieved her ambitions of proving herself in front of a primary class and behind the table tennis table.
It's probably the wrong way around of thinking, but since going in a chair, I do feel, and it's not people have made me feel like this, it's just I do feel that you have to prove yourself sometimes that you are as good as anybody else, but from a chair. So I probably push myself a little bit harder to try and keep on top, and whatever I do, try and be the best I can at that.
How she copes, sometimes I don't know, with working as a teacher, having 2 kids, and then still finding time to put the hours in to become an international table tennis player. I don't know how she does it.
When she was appointed purely because she came over as a good teacher, and she's proved to be so. The table tennis player was the bonus, was the icing on the cake, if you like.
Sue's application form mentioned she was an international player, but no one realised she was in contention to win gold at the Commonwealth Games at Manchester in 2002.
On her first visit to the school, after her appointment, she came along and it was announced to the whole parents, because we'd had a concert on that particular day, announced to the parents that she was going to compete in Manchester in the Commonwealth Games. And we knew nothing beforehand. She hadn't made a play about that.
You must have been quite pleased with yourself when you found out.
It was nice to have made it. It's always nice to make the right appointment and to find that you've got the right quality person who adds to the staff, who adds an extra dimension to the staff in some different way. And yes, we were very pleased about that.
It was Sue's first appointment at a school. She'd worked for 10 years in higher education because she was told there was no place for a primary teacher in a wheelchair.
But now I know that is an absolute load of rubbish, and I just deeply regret wasting 10 years of my life not doing the job that I always wanted to do. But I've got there eventually, so thoroughly enjoy it.
It's been rather frustrating.
Very frustrating, but when you go in a chair, there's a lot of emotional baggage there as well, that you think your life's ended, and it takes a long time to get over that. You just have to make your own decisions, and you just learn from experience, I'm afraid.
And don't feel sorry for yourself?
No, I haven't got time for that.
Sue, who's been in a wheelchair for 14 years because of a rare bone disease, has shown there's nothing she can't do as a teacher or as a mother. Outside of school, her biggest fans are members of her family, especially her 8-year-old son and 2-year-old daughter. They were with her at the Commonwealth Games in Melbourne, when she won the gold medal a second time to add to the one she'd won at Manchester.
But this one looks so much nicer because there's actually a gold necklace on it as well. So that was absolutely gorgeous when I got that.
She's very kind and she always brings all her new trophies and medals in to show us.
What's the most impressive thing she's done, do you think?
Won Commonwealth Games twice in a row because first athlete that's ever done that.
Do you want to ever compete in the Commonwealth Games?
Yeah.
Do you? What else?
To be a runner.
A runner? Are you fairly fast?
Yes. I came second in Sports Day.
Oh. When you leave school, do you want to become a champion?
No. So I feel embarrassed when I'm doing it.
Really? Why?
I don't know, it's just that feeling when you've got it.
Do you like people watching you?
No.
We're going to be watching you now on telly, won't they?
I know, yeah.
They seem quite proud of their teacher.
Yes, I think they are actually, which is quite nice. No, when I came back and they'd done the posters, it was so nice. Every wall was decorated. Came through school and I never dreamt they'd do anything like that. So no, it was lovely. It's been really very thought-provoking how much support I've actually had. Who was this team here?
She returned not only with a gold medal, but also plenty of stories about her adventures.
And this was our very tiny bedroom. As you can see, when both wheelchair people were in the bedroom at the same time, you could not move. Okay, you got in, you were wedged, and that's as far as you could get. I think it does children good as well to see people going out and doing something different to normal day-to-day life. And I do think that has added a lot to my teaching and in school as well. The picture I hate most, but I know you'll appreciate it.
Redback spider.
It is probably an awful redback spider or something very similar, and I absolutely hate spiders, especially when they're quite large. Now, what did they used to do with this boomerang?
He wanted to kill animals.
Yeah, they couldn't go to Tesco's when they were hungry. If they wanted to eat, they had to either grow their own crops or they used to have to kill animals.
What have you learnt about Australia today?
I think I've learned that there's kangaroos live in Australia and koala bears, and there's only 1.6% of the Aborigines who live in Australia.
Right. Did you get kangaroos in Barnsley?
No way.
I can show you.
Sue adapts her teaching methods to suit her abilities, using her laptop and whiteboard for most lessons and arranging desks in a horseshoe.
The children are extremely helpful. A lot of the times, even when I don't ask, they'll come and do things, sort of lift things if they fall on the floor, just because they know they can't do things like that. But other than that, my teaching is exactly the same. Just my able assistant, Miss Clark, is fantastic and gives me a hand reaching shelves, which I can't do, and getting everything ready.
It's not really any different from working in another class, because as a teaching assistant, you know, fetch things, carry things, help about. It's a pleasure to work with.
Does it make you feel quite proud that you're working with a champion?
Oh, yes, yes. Motivates the kids as well. It's great.
Does it motivate you?
Oh, yeah. I'm always motivating me.
Sue's chair can provide her with extra height, should she need it, for example, to see on the other side of the playground.
It goes up and down, so if I want to rise above everybody, you see, like that. It's quite good in shops when we go out and you can reach the top shelf, but you can go quite high up.
Is this ramp being put in especially for you?
Yeah, there were no ramps when I came. All the front of the school was rebuilt and extended, bigger staff room, and I needed my ramp on my fire exit, so yeah.
Apart from ramps, doorways have been improved to make life easier in a wheelchair. They're the sort of modifications that all schools must make eventually. Sue, of course, is an authority on wheelchair access, having overcome plenty of problems on her international travels.
We actually went on one of my tournaments abroad to France, and every lift had broken. The only way to go down 3 flights was on an escalator. And I think that was the most frightening experience I've ever had, going down backwards on an escalator, clinging on for dear life.
This discussion on disability is part of the PSHE curriculum. And once again, it highlights the way pupils see their own teacher.
Who can tell me something about disability that they might know?
There's 7% of people that in the world that's colourblind.
Very good, there are.
It's interesting, you were talking about disability with your pupils, but they didn't actually mention you.
To be quite honest, I think a lot of the children in the school don't even notice sometimes. They're just that used to me being around and that I can do the same things everybody else can, just sometimes in a different way, that I don't think it even registers sometimes that I am in a wheelchair.
A person in a wheelchair is a person who can do, who can achieve. And Sue's achievements and the fact she continues to achieve and continues to do so much more enables children to see that they too can achieve more, whether it be to overcome disabilities or whether it be in other areas of life.
We take a lot of things for granted. It's that we can sit on chairs, we can walk across a room. Now, there are some children who can't.
Far from dwelling on her own disabilities, Sue is patron of a charity that runs a conductive education centre. One of the other patrons is actress Wendy Peters.
It is the most amazing place. Kids are just learning so much, and it's such a fantastic, fantastic cause.
Sue is a science coordinator and also teaches music, specialising in recorders and flutes.
I love my music as well. That was another reason why I wanted to be a primary school teacher, so I could implement my sports as well as all my music as well.
It's no surprise that table tennis is one of the most popular sports at Shawland School. A table tennis club is so oversubscribed that it's limited to years 5 and 6.
Go forwards, not up all the time. Brilliant. Forwards.
A second table has recently arrived, but typical of the frustrations of school life, it came without all the necessary nuts and bolts.
Are you pretty good at table tennis?
Yeah, I like to think of myself so, seeing as though I've got a great teacher.
So you're hoping to become a Commonwealth champion yourself?
Yes, I am.
And you're being coached, of course, by a champion?
Yeah.
Does that make a difference?
Yeah. Once you know that like there's champion on table, you've got to try and really try hard to try and keep up with them. I don't want to be a table tennis champion.
What do you want to be a champion of?
Cricket.
It's basically building up the skills, getting them used to hitting the ball softly and controlling it. That's why we do an awful lot of control, so when they're not on the table, they're still doing the control element, and then when they're really good at that, then we start switching to try and get them the skills, switching and using the blade.
Sue usually trains 4 days a week, or every day in the run-up to major tournaments.
She's technically very good all round. I think that's what you need to have an all-round game, but she's got a really strong backhand top spin and her serves are pretty good. She sets herself goals, and I know I don't know if she's expected to be at this stage at this time, but I've known her for 6-7 years now, and the last 3 years she's just progressed on, and she's there now mixing it with all the top ones, and she is a top player.
Sue's next goal is to win Olympic gold at Beijing and again at London, but she's recently been forced to face up to the fact that she may not be able to compete. The bone disease that put her in a wheelchair has recently started to affect other joints, including her right wrist.
My wrist really has put a damper on things. It is quite upsetting because I wanted to go on forever, but obviously I've now found out it is a progressive disability, and I am getting worse and worse as the years go on, which I didn't know about till recently. But obviously I can't put a time scale on, and I will just try and desperately play as long as I can possibly do it and put up with the pain.
Are you worried that eventually it will stop you teaching as well?
Oh, I hope not. I suppose that there is always that a long way away, but I do hope not. I think you just have to keep adapting things and teaching in different ways. And if that means me paying for extra support if I need it, then I'd do that, because I don't see why I should stop teaching because of my disability. But yes, it is hard sometimes. It's very hard trying it when you're tired and you're in pain and you've got to go home to 4 hours marking. But it's the job I love and it's what I want to do, and I'm determined that my disability is not going to stop that.